"This is my blood, human soldier. Stop drinking," he shouted. Still I drank and felt something unknown asterisk. The smell of smoke and burning metal filled the air around forward base Kepler. Sergeant Elena Vasquez lay against the broken wall of what used to be the communications center. Her uniform was torn and covered in dirt and blood. Most of the blood was not hers, but some of it was. She looked around at the destruction. The base was completely ruined. Pieces of metal and concrete were scattered everywhere. Small fires still burned in different corners. The attack had been swift and deadly. The Vorthok raiders had come like a storm of living crystal, their sharp bodies cutting through everything in their path. Elena's squad was gone. All of them. Martinez had been the first to fall when the crystalline warriors broke through the main gate. Thompson tried to help him, but got cut down too. Jenkins and Roberts had fought bravely at the ammunition storage, but the Vorthok were too fast, too strong. Elena had watched her friends die one by one, and there was nothing she could do to save them. Now she was alone. Well, almost alone. A soft blue light moved toward her through the smoke. Elena tried to raise her weapon, but her arms felt too heavy. The light came closer, and she saw it was not an enemy. It was Zephyrthal, the coalition medic who had been stationed at the base for the past 3 months. Zephyrthal was unlike any human Elena had ever seen. He was tall and thin, with skin that seemed to glow with a gentle blue light. His people were called the Healers, and they were famous across the galaxy for their medical skills. Elena had never spoken much to him before. Most humans found the alien medic strange and hard to understand. Sergeant Vasquez Zephyrthal said in his soft, musical voice. His English was good, but he spoke each word carefully. "You are badly hurt. I must help you." Elena tried to speak, but only a weak cough came out. She felt cold and dizzy.
There
was a deep cut on her side, where a Vorthok crystal blade had found its mark. Blood was slowly soaking through her uniform. She knew she was dying. Zephyrthal knelt beside her and opened his medical kit. His long, graceful fingers moved quickly as he pulled out different tools and medicines. The blue glow from his skin became brighter as he worked, like a lamp in the darkness. "Stay awake, Sergeant," he said. "I will fix this." The Galactic Coalition. Medical treatment is very good, very advanced. Lena watched as he injected her with something that made her feel a little warmer. Then he pressed a device against her wound. It made a soft humming sound, but nothing seemed to happen. The bleeding did not stop. Zephyrthal frowned. This was not normal. Usually his treatments worked quickly on humans. He tried a different medicine, then another device. But Elena was getting weaker and weaker. "Why is this not working?" he said to himself. His voice sounded worried now. Elaine's vision was getting blurry. She could feel her heart beating slower and slower. The cold was spreading through her body like water filling a broken ship. She had been in many battles before, but she had never felt this close to death. "I'm sorry, Sergeant," Zephyrthal said quietly. "I do not understand. The treatment should work." "It always works." Elena tried to focus on his face. In the blue glow of his skin, she could see that he was upset. Even though they were different species, she could tell that he cared. He really wanted to save her. That was when she noticed something else. Zephyrthal had a cut on his arm. It was not deep, but blue liquid was slowly dripping from it. His blood. It glowed even brighter than his skin, like liquid starlight. Elena had heard stories about healer blood. The other soldiers sometimes talked about it in whispers. They said it could cure any disease, heal any wound. But they also said it was dangerous, poisonous to other species. Anyone who tried to drink it would die in terrible pain. But Elena was already dying. What difference would it make? With the last of her strength, she reached out and grabbed Zephyrthal's wounded arm. Before he could understand what she was doing, she pressed her mouth to the cut and began to drink. "No!" Zephyrthal shouted. He tried to pull away, but Elena held on with desperate strength. "This is my blood, human soldier. Stop drinking." But Elena could not stop. The blue liquid tasted like electricity and starlight. It was warm and cold. At the same time, as soon as it touched her tongue, something amazing happened. She felt energy rushing through her body like lightning. "You do not understand," Zephyrthal cried. "My blood is sacred. It will kill you." No alien has ever survived. Drinking healer blood. Please stop. Elena continued to drink. She felt something changing inside her, something she had never experienced before. It was like her whole body was waking up after a long sleep. The cold feeling was going away. The dizziness was fading. Most importantly, she could feel her heart beating stronger and stronger. Zephyr stared at her in shock. This was impossible. According to everything he knew about galactic biology, Alina should be dying in agony right now. Healer blood was toxic to all other species. It had been tested many times. No one could survive it. But Alina was not dying. She was getting stronger. The cut on her side was beginning to close. The bleeding had stopped completely. Her skin was getting its color back. Most surprising of all, her eyes were starting to glow with a very faint blue light, just like a healer's eyes. What? What is happening to me? Alina whispered. The voice was stronger now, but it sounded different. There was something new in it, something that had not been there before. Zephyr could not answer. He had no words for what he was seeing. In all the history of the Galactic Coalition, nothing like this had ever happened. Humans were supposed to be biologically incompatible with other species. That was why Earth had not been allowed to join the Coalition for so long. But here was proof that everything they thought they knew was wrong. Lena sat up slowly. She felt incredible. It's better than she had ever felt in her entire life. She could see things more clearly, hear sounds she had never noticed before. Even the air seemed to taste different. Zephyr, she said, looking at the shocked alien medic. What have you done to me? But deep down, Alina knew the truth. It was not what he had done to her. It was what she had done to herself. Somehow she knew that this was only the beginning. Alina stood up slowly, testing her legs. They felt strong. Stronger than they had ever been. The wound on her side was completely healed, leaving only a thin white line where the crystal blade had cut her. She touched the spot and felt nothing but smooth skin. Zephyr remained on his knees, staring at her with wide eyes. His blue glow had become dimmer, as if he was too shocked to maintain his normal brightness. This cannot be real, he whispered. You should be dead. The toxins in my blood should have stopped your heart in seconds. Alina looked at her hands. They seemed normal, but she could feel something different about them. There was energy flowing through her veins, warm and electric. When she focused, she could see tiny blue lines of light running under her skin, like a river system made of stars. I feel different, she said. Everything looks clearer. I can hear things I never noticed before. It was true. Alina could hear the soft humming of damaged electronics in the ruins around them. She could hear the wind moving through broken walls 3 buildings away. Most amazing of all, she could hear Zephyr's heart beating a rhythm that was much faster than a human heart. Your eyes, Zephyr said in amazement. They are glowing. Alina found a piece of broken mirror among the debris and looked at herself. Her reflection showed the same face she had always known, but her brown eyes now had tiny points of blue light dancing in them, like stars in a night sky. How is this possible? He asked. Zephyr slowly got to his feet. Medical training was fighting with everything he was seeing. It is not possible. No species in the galaxy can survive healer blood. We have tested this many times over thousands of years. Every alien that has ever consumed our blood has died within minutes. But I'm not dead, Alina said simply. No. Zephyr agreed. You are very much alive. More alive than you were before, I think. Alina walked over to a heavy piece of concrete that had fallen from the ceiling. Without thinking, she lifted it with one hand. The block weighed at least 200 pounds, but it felt light as paper. To her, Zephyr made a sound of surprise. Humans are not that strong. Normal humans aren't, Alina said, setting the concrete down carefully. But I don't think I'm normal anymore. She closed her eyes and tried to understand what was happening to her body. She could feel her heart pumping, but it was pumping something more than just blood now. The blue energy was mixing with her own life force, creating something new. Zephyr, she said, opening her eyes. What exactly is in healer blood? What makes it so special? The alien medic was quiet for a moment, thinking, my people's blood carries what you might call life energy. It can heal any wound, cure any disease, even bring someone back from near death, but only for healers. For any other species, it is poison because their bodies cannot process the energy. It destroys their cells. But my cells aren't being destroyed, Alina observed. No, they are ... adapting. Zephyrthal's voice was full of wonder. Your cellular structure is changing to accept the energy. This should be impossible. Cell structures do not change. They are fixed from birth. Alina felt a strange tingling in her head. Suddenly, she could sense something new. There were electromagnetic fields around all the broken electronics in the base. She could see them like glowing webs in the air. I can see electricity, she said quietly. What? The power lines, the damaged computers, even your medical equipment? I can see the electrical fields around them. Alina turned to look at Zephyrthal. I can see yours too. There's a bright field around your whole body. Zephyrthal was speechless. Healers could sense biological energy, but seeing electromagnetic fields was something completely different. It was an ability that belonged to the Zephkaria species. From the far edge of the galaxy, Alina walked over to a damaged communication console. Half of its circuits were fried, but she could see exactly which ones were still working. Without any training, she reached inside and moved a few wires. The console came back to life. How did you know how to do that? Zephyrthal asked. I could see what was wrong with it. The energy patterns were broken, so I fixed them. Alina stared at her hands. I've never been able to do anything like that before. Zephyrthal activated his emergency communicator. He needed to contact the coalition immediately. What was happening here would change everything they knew about biology, about species compatibility, about the very nature of life itself. Coalition Medical Command, this is Healer Zephyrthal at Forward Base Kepler. He spoke into the device. I need to report an emergency. Human has survived contact with healer blood. There was a long pause before the response came. Please repeat your message. Healer Zephyrthal. We did not understand. A human soldier consumed my blood during a medical emergency. She did not die. Instead, she has gained enhanced abilities. Her cellular structure appears to be adapting to incorporate healer traits. Another pause, longer this time. Healer Zephyrthal, are you saying that a human has successfully integrated with alien biological material? Yes, that is exactly what I am saying. Alina could hear both sides of the conversation clearly, even though the communicator was across the room. Her hearing had become incredibly sharp. This is impossible, the voice on the communicator said. Humans were tested. For coalition membership 15 years ago, they showed no biological compatibility with any known species. Zero adaptation capability. The tests were wrong, Zephyrthal said firmly. I am watching the impossible happen right now. Alina felt a new sensation. She could sense Zephyrthal's emotions. He was excited, amazed, but also worried. She could feel his concern like a warm pressure in her mind. Zephyrthal, she said, I can feel what you're feeling. Is that normal? The alien medic dropped his communicator. Emotional sensing? Yeah, that is a healer ability. No other species can do that. But I'm doing it. Yes, you are. He picked up the communicator. Coalition Command. I need to amend my report. But the human is not just adapting to healer traits. She is developing multiple alien capabilities that should be completely incompatible with human biology. Alina sat down heavily. The reality of what was happening was beginning to sink in. She was no longer fully human. But she wasn't fully alien either. She was something new, something that had never existed before. What does this mean? She asked. Zephyrthal looked at her with a mixture of awe and concern. It means that everything we thought we knew about humans was wrong, and that you, Alina Vasquez, may be the key to understanding something that could change the entire galaxy. In the distance, Alina could hear ships approaching. The coalition was sending help, but she had a feeling that she was about to become the most studied person in galactic history. The question was, would that be a good thing or a very dangerous thing? 3 days later, Forward Base Kepler looked completely different. Coalition medical ships filled the landing area, and scientists from across the galaxy had arrived to study. What everyone was calling the Vasquez phenomena, Alina sat in the temporary medical facility they had built around her. She felt like a specimen in a laboratory. Dozens of different aliens had examined her, taken samples of her blood, and run tests she didn't understand. Door. All of them stared at her with the same look of amazement and confusion. The most important visitor had arrived that morning. Dr. Kexvar is the Coalition's leading expert on xenobiology, the study of how different alien species worked. She was a crystalline, which meant her body was made of living diamond-like material. When she spoke, her voice sounded like wind chimes. Sergeant Vasquez, Dr. Kexvar said, her crystal form reflecting light in rainbow patterns. I have studied biology for over 300 years. In all that time, I have never seen anything like what has happened to you. Alina nodded. She was getting tired of being told how impossible she was, so everyone keeps saying. Dr. Kexvar moved closer. When crystallines walked, they made soft tinkling sounds. May I ask you some questions?
About how you feel? What
You can do now? Sure, Alina said. She had answered the same questions for every scientist who had come to see her. Can you still sense electromagnetic fields? Alina looked around the room. She could see the energy patterns from every piece of equipment. Yes, everything electronic looks like it's covered in glowing spider webs. And you can still feel emotions from others? Lena glanced at Zephyrthal, who was standing nearby. She could sense his worry and curiosity. I can feel that Zephyrthal is concerned about something, and that you're excited but trying to stay professional. Dr. Kexvar's crystal body brightened. Remarkable. You have developed abilities from at least 3 different species. It should be completely impossible. Why? Alina asked. Makes it so impossible? Dr. Kexvar activated a holographic display that showed different DNA structures. Every species in the galaxy has what we call fixed genetics. Once you are born, your DNA cannot change. It is like a book that has already been written. The words cannot be changed. Alina studied the floating images. But mine did change, yes, and that is what makes no sense. Dr. Kexvar pointed to a new image that appeared. This is your DNA. From before the incident, normal human genetics. And this is your DNA now. Elena stared at the second image. It looked completely different. Where her original DNA had been simple and straightforward, the new version was incredibly complex. It had patterns and structures she had never seen before. Your DNA has not just changed, Dr. Kexvar continued. It has become something new. It has taken parts from healer genetics and made them work with human biology. This should kill you instantly. But it didn't. No. Instead, your body found a way to make everything work together. It is like taking parts from 3 different machines and somehow building a new machine that works better than any of the original ones. Zephyrthal stepped forward. Doctor, what does this mean for humans in general? Could others do what Elena has done? Dr. Kexvar was quiet for a long moment. I believe, she said slowly, that humans possess something we have never seen before. Adaptive genetics. DNA that can change and grow and incorporate new traits. Elena felt a chill run down her spine. Are you saying all humans can do this? I believe all humans have the potential, but it may require very specific conditions to activate: extreme stress, near-death experiences, and contact with compatible alien biology. The implications hit Elena like a physical blow. If all humans could potentially adapt like she had, it would change everything. Humans wouldn't just be another species in the galaxy. It would be something completely unique. We need to run more tests, Dr. Kexvar said. We need to understand exactly how this works. Over the next several hours, Elena went through every test the scientists could think of. They measured her strength, which was now 5 times greater than a normal human. They tested her electromagnetic vision, which was more precise than the best Zefkari sensors. They examined her empathic abilities, which matched those of experienced healers. But the most important discovery came when they tested her blood. Elena, Dr. Kexvar said, staring at her test results. Your blood now carries healing properties. It's not as strong as healer blood, but definitely present. What does that mean? It means the adaptation was complete. You didn't just survive drinking healer blood. You incorporated its properties into your own biology. You have become a bridge between species. Elena thought about this. A bridge? Yes. You prove that the barriers between species are not as solid as we believed. If humans can adapt to other forms of life, then cooperation between species could go much deeper than anyone imagined. But not everyone saw this as good news. That evening, Elena intercepted a coded transmission that her enhanced hearing picked up from one of the Coalition ships. The message was being sent to the Dominion Empire, humanity's greatest enemy in this part of the galaxy. Target confirmed, the message said. Human adaptation capabilities verified. Species represents potential biological weapon. Recommend. Immediate acquisition for research purposes. Elena's blood went cold. Someone in the Coalition was working with the Dominion. They wanted to capture humans to turn them into weapons. She found Zephyrthal in his quarters and told him what she had heard. "This is very bad," Zephyrthal said. "The Dominion has been looking for ways to create super soldiers for decades. If they learn about human adaptive abilities, it'll try to capture my people and experiment on them," Elena finished. "Yes, and they will not care about consent or safety. They will see humans as tools to be used." Elena sat down heavily. 3 days ago, she had been a simple soldier, fighting to protect her base. Now she was apparently the key to a discovery that could either unite the galaxy or start a war. "Zephyrthal," she said. "What if I'm the only human who can do this? What if the adaptation only worked because of something special about me?" The healer medic was quiet for a moment. "Then you carry the future of human-alien relations on your shoulders. No pressure." Elena laughed, but there was no humor in it. "Great. No pressure at all." Outside, she could hear more ships arriving. Word was spreading across the galaxy about the impossible human who had bridged the gap between species. Some would come to study her. Others would come to protect her. And some, she knew, would come to capture her. Elena looked at her hands, still amazed by the faint blue glow under her skin. She had wanted to serve her species as a soldier. It looked like she would serve them in a way she had never imagined. The question was, would she be strong enough for what was coming? 2 weeks after the discovery of Elena's abilities, the galaxy exploded into chaos. The first attack came without warning. Dominion warships appeared above Earth's colonies in the Proxima system, their dark holes blocking out the stars. Didn't send demands or ultimatums. They simply began capturing every human they could find. Elena watched the emergency broadcasts from the Coalition Command Center that had been built around Forward Base Kepler. Her enhanced vision could see the stress patterns in the holographic displays, the electromagnetic signatures of panicked communications flooding in from across human space. 17 colonies under attack, reported Commander Vexner, four-armed Zeltharian who led the Coalition forces in this sector. The Dominion is using capture nets and stasis fields. Taking humans alive. Elena's hands clenched into fists. "They want test subjects." "Yes," Dr. Kexvar said grimly. Her crystal body had lost its usual rainbow shine and looked dull gray. "My research has been leaked to the Dominion. They know about human adaptive abilities." But the Dominion attacks were only half the problem. The other half was happening. Right here in the Coalition, the Hegemony Council is calling for an emergency session, Commander Thexuner announced. They want to discuss the human question. Elena felt her heart sink. The Hegemony Council was made up of the oldest and most powerful species in the Coalition. If they decided humans were dangerous, Earth could be expelled from the Alliance. Zephyrthal moved closer to Elena. She could sense his worry through their growing emotional connection. Over the past 2 weeks, their bond had grown stronger. Sometimes she felt like she could almost read his thoughts. "What does the Council want to discuss?" Lena asked, though she already knew the answer. "Whether humans pose a biological threat to galactic security," Commander Thexuner said carefully. "Some species are concerned about what your abilities might mean." Elena had been expecting this. She had seen the way some of the alien scientists looked at her, not with wonder anymore, but with fear. The idea that humans could absorb and adapt alien traits terrified them. "They think we're going to take over the galaxy," Elena said. It wasn't a question. "Some do," the commander admitted. "The Vexkari delegation has called humans biological parasites. The Theran Empire wants all human colonies quarantined. Even some of our allies are nervous." Elena stood up and walked to the window. Outside, She could see coalition ships from dozens of different species. Just 2 weeks ago, they had all come here to study a miracle. Now half of them were probably here to contain a threat. We need to show them they're wrong, Alina said. We need to prove that human abilities aren't about domination. How? Dr. Kexvar asked. The evidence seems to suggest that humans can take traits from any species they encounter. From their perspective, that is quite threatening. Alina turned back to face the room. Because they don't understand how it really works. Over the past week, Alina had been experimenting with her abilities. She had made a discovery that none of the scientists had figured out yet. She looked at Zephyrthal. Tell them what we learned yesterday, she said. Zephyrthal stepped forward, his blue glow brightening slightly. Alina cannot simply take abilities from anyone. The process requires consent, mutual trust. When we tried to replicate the original incident with other species, nothing happened unless both participants were willing. Dr. Kexvar's crystal form sparked with interest. You mean the adaptation is not forced? It requires cooperation? Exactly, Alina said. I can't just grab someone and steal their abilities. They have to be willing to share. And more than that, we have to trust each other completely. It only works when both people want to help each other. This was the key discovery that could change everything. Alina had tried to adapt traits from several different volunteer species, but it only worked when there was genuine mutual respect and trust between them. Fear, suspicion, or selfish motives made the process impossible. This changes the threat assessment completely, Commander Vexner said. If humans can only adapt through cooperation, ... then we're not conquerors, Alina finished. We're bridge builders. But their conversation was interrupted by an urgent alarm. Red lights flashed throughout the command center, and a new holographic display appeared, showing the space around forward base Kepler. Dominion fleet approaching, the tactical officer announced. 30 warships heavily armed will be in weapons range in 20 minutes. Alina felt the fear spike through everyone in the room. The Dominion had found them. They're not. Here for the base, Dr. Kexvar said quietly. They're here for you, Alina. Commander Vexner began issuing orders. All coalition ships, prepare for battle. Civilian vessels, begin evacuation procedures. Alina watched the approaching enemy fleet on the tactical display. 30 Dominion ships against the 15 coalition vessels currently at Kepler. The odds were not good, especially since the coalition ships were research vessels, not warships. Commander Alina said. I have an idea, but I need volunteers. What kind of volunteers? Alina looked around the room at the different alien species represented. I need crew members who trust me enough to try something that's never been done before. People willing to temporarily share their abilities with humans. Zephyrthal immediately stepped forward. I volunteer. Dr. Kexvar's crystal form brightened. As do I. One by one, other aliens in the room raised their hands, tentacles or appendages. The Zeltharian weapons officer, the Vexkari engineer, even the nervous Altarian pilot. You understand what you're volunteering for? Alina asked. We'll be sharing biology, mixing our species' abilities temporarily. We don't know all the risks. We understand, Dr. Kexvar said. And we trust. You? Alina felt a warmth spread through her chest. These beings who had every reason to fear her abilities were willing to risk their lives to help her defend the base. Commander Alina said, turning to Vexner.
I need you to send a message to the Hegemony Council.
No, tell them they're about to see what human adaptive abilities really mean.
Not conquest.
Cooperation. To Wazir. As the Dominion fleet drew closer, Alina
began the most important experiment of her life. One by one, she formed temporary biological bonds with her alien volunteers. Each connection required complete trust from both sides. With Zephyrthal, she gained enhanced healing and energy manipulation. With Dr. Kexvar, she developed crystal-hard skin and the ability to process multiple thought streams. With the Zeltharian officer, she gained enhanced reflexes and tactical awareness. But the most amazing part was that the process worked both ways. Each alien volunteer gained human traits in return, adaptability, creativity, and something the galaxy had never seen. before the ability to form instant, deep emotional bonds with other species. 15 minutes to weapons range, the tactical officer announced. Alina looked at her diverse team of human-alien hybrids. Each person glowed with the combined energies of 2 species. Each one was something new, something impossible, something beautiful. Time to show the Dominion what cooperation can do, Alina said. The final battle was about to begin. The Dominion fleet arrived like a storm of metal and death. 30 massive warships dropped out of hyperspace around forward base Kepler, their dark hulls bristling with weapons. Each ship was 3 times larger than the biggest coalition vessel. Alina stood in the command center, surrounded by her team of volunteers. Each person glowed with the mixed energies of 2 species. She could feel their combined thoughts and emotions flowing through the biological bonds they had formed. It was like having a dozen minds working as one. Dominion fleet is powering weapons, announced the tactical officer. Through her bond with the Zeltharian weapons expert, Alina could see the energy patterns building in the enemy ships. They're targeting our research vessels. Send a message to the Dominion commander, Alina said. Tell them we want to talk. Commander Thexener looked surprised. Alina, these are Dominion forces. They don't negotiate. They take what they want by force. Then it's time they learned a different way, Alina replied. The main viewing screen flickered, and the image of a Dominion commander appeared. He was a Kareth, a species known for their ruthless efficiency. His gray skin was covered in battle. Scars and his black eyes showed no emotion. I am Commander Vextel of the Dominion Warfleet, he said in a cold voice. Surrender the human specimen immediately, or we will destroy every ship in this system. Alina stepped forward so the commander could see her clearly. I'm Sergeant Alina Vasquez. I assume I'm the specimen you're looking for. Commander Vexel's eyes narrowed. You will come aboard our ship for transport to Dominion research facilities. You will cooperate, or we will take you by force and destroy this base. I have a better idea, Alina said calmly. Why don't you? Try to take me. The Dominion commander made a gesture, and the communication ended. Moments later, the first wave of Dominion fighters launched from the warships. Here they come, Alina said to her team. Everyone ready? Through their biological bonds, Alina felt the determination of each volunteer. Zephyrthal's healing energy flowed through her veins. Dr. Kexvar's crystal strength hardened her skin. The Zeltharian officer's tactical knowledge filled her mind with battle strategies. But the most amazing thing was what her human traits were doing for her alien partners. They were experiencing human adaptability, creativity, and emotional resilience for the first time. The combination was making them all stronger than either species could be alone. Coalition Fleet. This is Alina Vasquez, she announced over the communications system. We're going to show you something new, something the galaxy has never seen. Before, Alina and her team boarded a coalition fighter craft. As they flew toward the Dominion fleet, Alina felt the combined abilities of 5 different species flowing through her body. She could see electromagnetic fields like the Zefkari, sense emotions like the healers, think tactically like the Zeltharians, and adapt instantly like only humans could. The first wave of Dominion fighters came at them with overwhelming firepower. But Alina and her team moved like nothing the enemy had ever seen. They anticipated every attack, dodged every shot, and struck back with precision that seemed impossible. Alina's fighter danced between enemy ships, her enhanced reflexes making her untouchable. When her weapons were damaged, she used Dr. Kexvar's crystal abilities to repair them instantly. When her shields failed, Zephyrthal's healing energy reinforced them. Possible, she heard one Dominion pilot say over the intercepted communications. How can one fighter defeat an entire squadron? Because it's not just one fighter, Alina said, opening her communication channel. It's 5 species working as one. The battle continued, but something unexpected began happening. Several coalition ships that had been preparing to evacuate instead joined the fight. Their crews had seen what Alina and her team were doing, and they wanted to try it too. Human crew members on coalition ships began forming temporary biological bonds with their alien teammates. Each successful bond created a new hybrid warrior, someone who combined the best traits of both species. Within an hour, the space around forward base Kepler was filled with impossible fighters. human healer pilots who could repair their ships. While flying, human crystalline gunners whose diamond-hard focus made every shot perfect. Human Zeltharian tacticians who could predict enemy movements before they happened. The Dominion fleet, which had expected an easy victory, found themselves facing an enemy unlike anything in galactic history. "This is Commander Vexthel to all. Dominion forces," the enemy commander's voice crackled over the communications. "Retreat immediately. We cannot fight this." But Alina had a different idea. She flew her fighter directly toward the Dominion command ship. "Commander Vexthel," she said over the open channel. "I'm coming aboard your ship. Alone. It's a trap," Zephrithal said through their bond. "No," Alina replied. "It's an opportunity." Alina landed in the Dominion ship's hangar bay and walked through corridors filled with enemy soldiers. None of them tried to stop her. They had all seen what she could do in battle, and they knew their weapons would be useless. She found Commander Vexthel on his bridge, surrounded by his officers. They all stared at her with a mixture of fear and amazement. "You came," the commander said. "I said I would." Alina looked around at the Dominion crew. "You want to capture humans to create super soldiers? But you're thinking about it all wrong. What do you mean?" Alina held out her hand. "Give me your hand, Commander. Let me show you what human abilities really do." Commander Vexthel hesitated. "You want to form a biological bond?" "Officer, I want to show you that cooperation is stronger than conquest." Slowly, the Dominion commander reached out and took Alina's hand. The moment their skin touched, Alina felt the biological connection begin. But instead of forcing her traits onto him, she waited. The bond only worked if both people truly wanted it. For a long moment, nothing happened, and Alina felt something. Change in the commander's mind. His fear was being replaced by curiosity. His desire to conquer was being overwhelmed by something he had never experienced before: the human capacity for trust and cooperation. The biological bond formed, and Commander Vexthel gasped. Through Alina's human traits, he was experiencing emotions and thoughts he had never known were possible. He was feeling empathy, compassion, and the deep joy that came from helping others instead of dominating them. "What? What is this feeling?" he whispered. "It's what makes humans special," Alina said. "We don't just adapt to survive. We adapt to help others survive too." 3 months later, Alina stood in the Great Hall of the Galactic Coalition headquarters. She wore the uniform of the newly created Symbiotic Corps, an organization that had grown from 12 volunteers to over 10,000 beings from across the galaxy. The Hegemony Council had voted unanimously to not only accept humans into the coalition, but to create an entirely new branch of interspecies cooperation based on Alina's discoveries. The Symbiotic Corps represents the future of galactic civilization, announced Chancellor Veltar, the ancient leader of the coalition. "Through voluntary biological partnerships, we can achieve things that no single species could accomplish alone." Alina looked out at the audience. Humans and aliens sat together, many of them showing the subtle glow that indicated active biological bonds. Former enemies from the Dominion Empire worked alongside coalition scientists. Species that had never been able to communicate before were now sharing thoughts and emotions through human-mediated connections. Zephrithal stood beside her, their permanent bond having deepened into something that transcended both their original species. He was no longer just a healer, and she was no longer just human. They were something new, something better, Alina. He said quietly, "Do you ever regret drinking my blood that day?" Alina smiled, feeling the warmth of their connection and the joy of everyone around them who had found the same kind of partnership. "Never," she said. "It was the best decision I ever made." In the end, humanity's gift to the galaxy wasn't conquest or domination. It was the ability to bring different forms of life together, to build bridges where none had existed before, and to prove that cooperation was always stronger than conflict. Alina Vasquez had started as a dying soldier. She had become the mother of a new kind of civilization,